Hey everybody, it is time now for my college football picks for the week of October 13th, 2012. Before I get into my picks and review how I did last week, let's go ahead and do what we always do, and that is have our team of the week from last week as well as our disgrace of the week. Nominees for team of the week, the Florida Gators. Tell you what, Will Muschamp's defenses have always been pretty good from Texas. Now that he's head coach of Florida, it hasn't taken him long at all to establish Florida as one of the country's top defenses. They held LSU without a touchdown in their victory over the Tigers this past Saturday in an upset win. So Florida remains undefeated. They're ranked in the top 5 and playing pretty good right now. You also have to give it up to the North Carolina State Wolfpack. NC State coming from way back in the second half, including a touchdown in the final few seconds as they upset Florida State, handing them their first loss of the year. It's going to sound like a homer statement, but I got to give it up to Oklahoma. I was critical of them a few weeks ago for their disappointing performance against Kansas State, but they come back with the vengeance as they win in Lubbock. First time they've won at Texas Tech in 9 years. Play well on both sides of the ball as they defeat the Red Raiders. My team of the week, however, and of course we give it to Ohio State as well for putting 63 on the board against Nebraska. It's been a disappointing year for the Big Ten. But Ohio State, they're undefeated, and if they weren't on probation, they'd be a serious contender for the national championship right about now. So Ohio State, Urban Meyer, he's already making things happen. It's just his first year there at Columbus. Now I'm ready for my team of the week. It's going to be the South Carolina Gamecocks. That's right. The old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, continues his mastery over the Georgia Bulldogs. He's not beaten them 3 years in a row. And that marquee matchup last Saturday night, they jumped all over Georgia early, leading 21-0 before fans even had a chance to get comfortable at the stadium. South Carolina went on to defeat the Bulldogs 35-7, and that defense, just like Florida's, is playing at a pretty high level right now. They got a big game coming up in Baton Rouge against LSU, but for right now, South Carolina is at least in the national championship discussion. So good job, South Carolina. They're my team of the week. Now, my disgrace of the week and the nominees for disgrace of the week, first of all, the Big Ten Conference, with the exception of Ohio State. They don't get included in this because they're playing well. But how about Michigan, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Nebraska? Yeah. If you look at the latest coaches' top 25, you're not going to see any of them. As a matter of fact, you're not going to see any Big Ten team in the top 25 according to the coaches' poll. I know if Ohio State were ranked in the top 25, they'd be there. Again, this doesn't include them. It's been a disappointing year for this big-name conference that brings in so much television money, and yet they have not done well when it comes to non-league play. It's been a bad year for the Big Ten. Another nominee, the Auburn Tigers, for losing at home to a 4-loss Arkansas team. But my disgrace of the week goes to the Missouri Tigers for losing at home to Vanderbilt and so far not doing well at all in the SEC. Missouri, is this really the reason why you left the Big 12 to lose at home to Vanderbilt in the SEC? Are you kidding me? And if you look at Missouri's schedule for the second half, it doesn't look encouraging. At home this weekend against the number 1 team in the country, Alabama, plus there's also games later on at Florida, at Tennessee, and they close out the year at Texas A&M. I'll be stunned if Missouri can get to bowl eligibility. So far, the Tigers have not handled the transition from the Big 12 to the SEC well. So Missouri gets my reward for the disgrace of the week. Now, time for my picks. All right, time now to pick. Before we do that, let's review how we did last week. Both the Corn and I did not fare well. Both of us went 5-6 against the spread. That's right, 5-6. Thank you, USC, for not covering the spread in that last moment against the Utah Utes. Would have been 6-5 had they just held on. They won the game but didn't cover. There were other disappointments as well along the line, but I had to point that one out. So for the year, the coin remains 13 games ahead of me, 31 and 25. On the other hand, I remain pathetic at 18 and 38. 8 weeks to go, so let's see if I can make up some ground. Then again, I've been saying that for the last few weeks. As always, we begin in the Big 12 Conference. All these games are on Saturday. A reminder that West Virginia and Kansas State play each other next week, but they both have dangerous road games that are trap games. We'll begin with Kansas State at Iowa State. The Cyclones coming off their biggest win of the year, a road victory over previous unbeaten TCU. And Iowa State offensively looked good, defensively got a touchdown in the fourth quarter. They're playing at home against a Kansas State team that so far is one of the big surprises in college football. I think Iowa State keeps this thing close. I think Kansas State, right now, it's going to be impossible not to think about Morgantown and West Virginia next week. K-State might win, but Iowa State usually plays tough against ranked competition. This will not be any exception. Kansas State will win, but I look for Iowa State to cover. So give me Iowa State plus the 7. If this coin lands on heads, likes the favorite. Tails goes with the underdog. Coin is going to take Kansas State as well. West Virginia Mountaineers, they have a tough game as well, playing in Lubbock against Texas Tech. Now, West Virginia's offense has been terrific, but the defense has been pathetic. Remember, the last few games for West Virginia have been close. Narrow victory over Marshall, of course, the 7-point win against Baylor, and then this past week winning at Texas, but winning by just 3 points. But I think West Virginia offensively will put up enough points, and with the spread being at just 4, I think they'll have just enough to get over that hump. Texas Tech was exposed big time last week against Oklahoma, so give me West Virginia minus the 4, and the coin is going to go with West Virginia too. OSU at Kansas. The Cowboys had 2 weeks off, and I'm telling you what, you don't need 2 weeks to get ready for the Kansas Jayhawks. They got them, and it's a 24-point spread. Spread ain't big enough. Give me OSU minus the 24 at pathetic Kansas, and the coin is going to take Oklahoma State. Coin and I are 3 for 3 so far in agreeing. And then finally, it's TCU at Baylor. Doesn't look like Casey Paha will be in action this Saturday, and that's really bad news because you're going to Waco against a Baylor offense that puts up a lot of points. Home field advantage. Baylor's offense, too much in this one for the Horned Frogs to handle. Give me Baylor minus the 7, and the coin is going to go with TCU. SEC now, game of the week, in my opinion, LSU at home against South Carolina. Can the Gamecocks keep it going? Expect very few points in this one. Points will be at a premium. I'm taking LSU because they have a lot of pride to show after losing last week to Florida, plus the games at night. It's in Baton Rouge. That's a recipe for bad things to happen for South Carolina. I don't think South Carolina gets blown out, but I don't think they score enough points to win. Give me LSU minus the 2.5, and the coin will take LSU as well. You have Missouri at home against Alabama. Yeah, this is too easy. Bama should roll. This game should be over by halftime. Give me Bama minus the 21.5, and the good old coin is going to take Missouri. You have Mississippi State. The Bulldogs are undefeated and ranked in the top 25, hosting Tennessee. I know Mississippi State hasn't been tested yet. I don't think they'll beat Alabama, and I don't think they'll beat LSU. But I think they have enough to get past Tennessee, and plus playing at home, I think Mississippi State keeps it going. So give me MSU minus the 3, and the coin is going to take Mississippi State too. BYU at home against Oregon State. BYU not having a great year, but their defense is pretty darn good. That could be a good omen because Oregon State doesn't look like they're going to have their starting quarterback for this game. BYU at home with that defense. I like the Cougars. Give me BYU minus the 6, and the coin is going to take BYU too. And Notre Dame hosting Stanford. This is where College Game Day is at this week in South Bend. The next few weeks get very interesting for Notre Dame. The undefeated top 10 Irish hosting Stanford this week, playing BYU at home next week, and then the Oklahoma game coming up the last Saturday in October. Notre Dame's defense should do enough in this game to hold Stanford in check. Playing at home will help too. Give me Notre Dame in this one, minus the 7, and the coin is going to go with Notre Dame as well. And then finally, you have Texas A&M at Louisiana Tech in a game I didn't think we'd be previewing, but both teams are ranked in the top 25. This game was postponed to September because of a hurricane, so now the two teams are finally getting to play. The game will be on the road for Texas A&M. Coming off a come-from-behind win against Ole Miss, but I think Louisiana Tech is better than Ole Miss. Look for this game to be tight. Give me Louisiana Tech at home plus the 7, and the coin is going to go with Louisiana Tech as well. So for this week, it looks like the coin and I on most of the games are on the same side. How'd you pick this week? We'll go over next week's picks. And a reminder, this Saturday, October the 13th, join me for my post-game show of OU Texas. It'll be sometime either Saturday afternoon or early Saturday evening. So check it out. Thanks for watching.